Hey, y'all. Welcome back to the Yes We Can podcast. I'm your host, Kira Andersen. And today we have a friend of mine, Jamie Luth, who's on the show. Her husband, Ethan, was on last week. He is currently battling stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And so Jamie's on here to share her story from her standpoint and what they've been through and are going through. So, Jamie, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me. Thanks for having another Luth.
Yeah, I love it.
2 weeks in a row.
I know. Ethan did so well last week.
I know, no pressure for this week.
No pressure.
But, yeah.
How are you?
I'm doing well. We're doing well. We're settling a bit after the big whirlwind move, but the house is still destroyed, but that'll be a while.
It's okay.
We'll get there.
Small details.
Yeah.
So Jamie and I went to college together, actually, and hadn't spoken in,
A while.
20 years maybe,
Yeah,
almost.
since college, probably.
But first, let's talk. I want to give my audience just an idea of who you are, where you're from. I just like people to introduce themselves.
Yeah, of course.
And then we'll kind of go into the story.
Yeah. So I actually grew up really close to where we went to college, just probably 30, 45 minutes north of there in Southwest Missouri. And I also grew up on a farm. I grew up on a cattle farm.
No kidding.
Ethan did the corn and soybean side. I did the cattle side.
No way.
Different commodities. So I do have to apologize because last week, whenever you mentioned your brother-in-law, and you said that he got head-butted, before you mentioned that he, had stitches and actually got hurt, I did chuckle a little because, growing up on a farm, I've been there and I knew. So I apologize that I chuckled. So sorry. I know you may have gotten hurt. But so I grew up on a beef cattle farm.
Wow.
And so just small town and did FFA and all the things. And then when I went to college, studied agriculture as well. So Ethan and I have the same degree, but from different universities, of course. And then after college, did a little bit of stuff. Actually lived up here in St. Louis for a little bit, worked for Wells Fargo, and then got in with USDA. And so then, as he mentioned, you said that you would get my side of the story about how we met.
Yeah.
And he wasn't entirely incorrect
I love this.
in his description of how the first night went. I had just moved to Kansas City. The couple that lived down the street, she was one of my good friends. And so, of course, when they said we should meet, anytime you're in a setup situation, it's always, right? It's always awkward.
Yeah, 100%.
But we did go out. We were at Lake the Ozarks. We went out that night. What he failed to mention was that we stayed up most of the night talking. So he missed that little detail.
Yeah,
He did say that I wasn't interested. And I just moved to downtown Kansas City.
Yeah.
I was 25.
You're fancy
I was
free,
doing my
footloose.
I was doing my thing.
Yeah.
But within a month that we knew we were going to get married. So
I love
we
that.
dated for a year, or engaged for a year, and then, did all the things and just all the moves and things in between. But
I love that.
And then
I did not know you were a farm girl.
Yeah.
How many cattle did your family have?
It was between my dad and my uncle.
Yeah.
They probably ran between 200 to 300 cattle at like the peak time.
Yeah.
But they both worked as well. So it was more hobby-ish type farm.
Okay.
My uncle had more of the cattle over on his land, which interestingly enough, an oncologist ended up buying my uncle's passed, and he ended up buying his land and knew Dr. Chapman here, who's the surgeon that we met with, and knew a little bit of Dr. Lim. So he was also kind of a driving force in the background trying to get us in.
Wild.
Up here. It's crazy. It's
all these
crazy.
God winks along the way.
I'm telling you.
We're not talking about coincidences. We're talking about full on.
Putting people in your life
100%.
for a reason. So
yes.
So
Wild. Okay, so
all over.
Engaged, married. How many children?
Three
kids.
girls.
Three girls. That's right. Wild.
2 years apart each. So
fun.
A lot of drama.
Yeah. And you guys moved to New Zealand. Well,
Netherlands.
Not New Zealand. Not New Zealand.
That'd be fun.
New Zealand would be fun. I didn't get much sleep last night, and so my, the words might be.
I understand.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay, so let's go ahead and share.
Yes. So we went Kansas City to North Carolina, Germany here. And then we had been settled here 4.5, almost 5 years. And Ethan, I still remember this day. I went home, he was at home on the phone, always, I pay no attention because he's always on the phone, but I could tell that was his boss, the way he was talking and, just the relationship they have, I could understand. And I noticed that he was following me around the house as he was on the phone. And so then I just kind of started messing with him because that's the wife I am. I started going to random places in the house to see. So I knew he had something that he wanted to talk to me about. And then when he got off the phone, he told me, that there's this opportunity in the Netherlands, but that would be disruptive for the girls. And we're settled here. And I said, well, it would be disruptive for the girls, but it's an amazing opportunity. Mm-hmm. And initially it was just on a local contract. And sometimes, depending on the country that's in, it's not exactly the best opportunity. Okay. Netherlands is more of an expensive country to live in. So sometimes it doesn't really, But ended up being where they called back and they said, just kidding, this is an expat contract. Is this something that you guys would be willing to do? And so I said, I think we should take this. Awesome. If this is good for your career. Mm-hmm. That's always my first question. Is this good for your career? Mm-hmm. And he said, yes, this would be really good. And I said, let's do it.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yes, it's going to be disruptive for the girls, but they're little. And, selfishly, I was like, I get to travel again. Yeah. I get to go do all the things. So we did that. We got over there. We plucked them out of school, set them in a new country, in a new school, all the things. Expat life is fun. It's not for everyone. Mm-hmm. It's hard. Mm-hmm. It's a lot. But thankfully with this one, the community around this assignment was amazing. Just awesome. There were several Americans there, just between the different industries. So that was helpful. Unfortunately, when we got there, right after we got there, his company, they went through restructuring change type situation. So we didn't know initially what all was going to happen.
Oh my gosh.
And then when we figured out we were staying and then all the things he had to go through. So his stress level was
through the roof, probably.
Unbelievable.
I bet.
So after all of this, the diagnosis and everything came about. So then...
Well, let's talk about how long after you lived.
Well, we were there for 2.5 years.
2.5 years?
Yes. And then we got diagnosis.
And what happened before? I want to talk about you when the symptoms started, what was going through your mind, the questions you were asking, again, from your standpoint.
So we got there 23. So in 24, he ran. He set a goal for himself. He's like, I'm going to run these many kilometers, these many miles this year. And he hit that and he went beyond. So then at the end of the year, he's like, you know what? It's getting hard on my knees. Or it's getting hard on my back. I said, well, okay, switch to lifting and do some cardio. Mm-hmm. So he did that. And he kept complaining about his lower back. He's like, oh, it's probably from running, right? Mm-hmm. I said, well, you never stretch. You never recover.
Whose lower back doesn't hurt in their late 30s,
100%.
Early 40s?
So when he switched to lifting weights, I kept telling him, you have to recover your body. You have to stretch. You have to take care of it. You can't just go and work out and then be done.
Right.
And he kind of paid attention, kind of started stretching, kept complaining about it. And I looked at him one day. I said, just go to a chiropractor. Something is off. You're out of line.
Right.
Go take care of it.
So how long do you think
tired of this.
him complaining about his back was?
I'm trying to think back. He kept purchasing different things for our bed, like different mattress toppers or different pillows, trying to get in the right spot to help him sleep. So that was probably easily 6 months or more of that, but it wasn't enough of a pain to think anything other than, I'm getting old, my back is sore.
Correct.
But he kept saying we need to get a new mattress, and please don't make me get a new mattress. I really just got a new one before we moved. I love it. So that's why I told him. I was like, just go to a chiropractor. There's something off. You're just out of line. Right. So I do feel bad in retrospect now, looking back, that I was so dismissive to a point. I was like, just take care of yourself.
How would you, you're not, with someone's lower back hurt, you're not thinking, well,
Never.
it might be cancer. It might be pancreatic cancer.
Exactly. You probably have pancreatic cancer. No, never in my mind did I have. That's not entirely true. I always had in the back of my mind the fear of, after following, your story and everything with Kyle, I always had that. It just always just stuck in the back of my mind. But again, complaining about your lower back being sore, no, I never.
You didn't connect the dots.
Put those two together.
Right. And who would?
Right. And even if I did earlier on, probably wouldn't have listened to me anyway. Right. So it was probably between 6 months or so that he fought with that before it started really progressing to where the pain was more noticeable or more up towards kidney-ish area is what it seemed like every time he would point to his back. And then that's when he started he went to the doctor for that probably end of summer of 25.
Primary care.
Yes, because everything over there, you have to start with primary care.
That's what, is it socialized medicine over there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have to start everything. You start with your general practitioner, and then from there you get referrals, which is fine. That's just the way they do it.
Correct. Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But so he went for that, and they said, no, maybe you have a kidney stone. Just wait and see. Yeah, you'll probably pass it. And then he went back again when the pain was still there, and they finally did do a urine test, and they said, nope, no kidney stone. You know.
And what were you thinking at this point?
I was watching it, and I was trying not to Google because it's the worst.
It's the worst.
So I was still, at that point, I was thinking, no, yeah, you actually might have a kidney stone, right? But he does drink a decent amount of water then at that time, clearly much more now. But I was like, well, maybe, you know, I don't know. I didn't really pay attention.
Right.
And it wasn't until he started in with, you know, the vomiting and the excessive pain. So then I let myself Google a little bit. And one of the first things that came up was pancreatic cancer.
You're kidding.
So
just the back pain got more intense, or had it moved to stomach? Or
Still
well, I mean, he
just
was vomiting.
He was vomiting
From the
yes,
pain.
From the pain.
Okay.
When he would lay flat
Okay.
is when it caused problems.
Okay.
When he was upright, he said it was just kind of, he could handle it. You know, he was toughing it out. It was no problem. But it was just when he would lay flat is when the pain was so bad. So then he would, he'd mentioned last week that I've only seen him be sick a handful of times, all of the years that I've known him. So that was very strange.
Right.
And that's when I said, okay, I'm going to go with you because something about this doesn't seem right. And I had Googled and I had seen that. And then, you know, all the memories of your guys' journey just kind of came flooding back. So I was like, okay, no, we're not going to, this is not going to be it. Right.
No, we're not going down that road.
Kidney stone and something is just blocked somewhere and it's probably fine. So it was a very interesting start to the journey, I think. I mean, I don't think anybody has a standard, right away that this is what it is. It's all disguises itself as something very strange.
And oftentimes there's no symptoms until it's spread.
Yeah.
But his hadn't at that point.
We didn't think it did.
Okay.
So
and at that doctor's appointment, you mentioned to me in previous conversations that you asked them specifically.
I did.
So what exactly did that look like?
So we were back at the general practitioner, and she, he had said, I've been vomiting when I lay at night, or the pain will get so bad that I will. And so they still continued with the kidney stone. The doctor said, well, that can happen. That can be part of it. And I asked her, I said, well, can we check and make sure there's nothing going on in the pancreas? And she kind of I remember she looked at me funny, like, what are you talking about? Right. And I said, I had a friend of mine from college, her husband was the same age. And when, now that Ethan is now, and unfortunately, he passed from pancreatic cancer because they get caught up very late. And so she I don't want to say she wrote it off by any means, but they continued down the kidney stone path. Like that was their focus. And that was it. So they started with, he had an ultrasound first, I believe. And during the ultrasound, the guy was saying, the kidneys look fine. There's nothing in here. And I asked him, I said, well, what is there? Can you see the pancreas? And of course, he's pointing to things on the screen.
You're right.
Nothing, right? That's just black squishy things.
Right.
And so I asked, can you see? Yeah. No, that looks good. That's fine.
Really?
And so I said, okay.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
And then we just kept continuing down the path because it wasn't getting better. So then it went to CT scan and then CT scan with contrast and to where we ended up in the urology office whenever she was the one that said, kidneys are clear. There's something in the pancreas. We think it's cancer. Full stop. Like literally, she did not speak after that. because I guess she was letting us react. I don't really know what her plan was from
This
there.
is the same doctor that told you it wasn't that.
This was at the hospital.
Okay.
So we had progressed from just our local doctor office to being at the hospital, throughout the appointments.
Now, had you asked this doctor before? This was
No, this was the first time we had seen her. So she was just reading results, and I think she's new in her career, I think. So I think her delivery maybe not the best.
Right.
But from there, that's when they got us in with the gastroenterologist and went down that road. He said, nope, it kind of sounds like alcohol-induced pancreatitis, because it would be any time Ethan would, he would have a beer or something. Like, he doesn't drink a ton by any means, but if he's grilling something, he'll have a beer out with his friend. Nothing excessive by any means. But his story, he said, this sounds to me like alcohol-induced pancreatitis, if that's the case.
So they hadn't done a biopsy. They just hadn't assumed.
Yet. Yes. He was just listening to the story and putting together his summation of all of it. He did order an MRI. He said, we're going to do an MRI. We're going to check.
I'm surprised the CT scan didn't blow up.
I think they saw something, but they weren't entirely sure. So that's whenever he said, this is what it sounds like. If this is what it is, steroids. You'll take steroids and that's it. You'll be fine.
And what were you thinking at this point?
I was having, all my hope was in that basket. I was like, I would be happy to call you an alcoholic and off we go. Right? No problem. Because the alternative was cancer. Exactly. Right. The alternative was cancer or pancreatitis, alcoholic-induced pancreatitis.
Which he didn't drink that much.
He didn't drink that much.
Really far-fetched.
It really would. So that was kind of within the joke. I'd be happy to call it that. Apologies to anyone.
Yeah.
But,
correct. It's a serious disease.
It is a serious disease. But on the flip side.
Correct.
But, excuse me. So we left. He did the MRI. He did the biopsy. And then, like you said, we went to France for our vacation we already had planned. And we were discussing with friends that were down there, hey, it's either this or it's this. And we were all rooting for the pancreatitis. Of course, you just take the steroids and you're fine. Unfortunately, it didn't go that way for him. So they did call him on Christmas Eve to tell him he had a missed call earlier in the day on Christmas Eve from our GP. Mm-hmm. And then he had a couple missed calls from a number that he didn't have in his phone, but it was the gastroenterologist. He'd been trying to reach him throughout the day and finally got a hold of him at 4:00 that evening.
Because mind you, you're skiing in France.
We were on the mountain.
Vacation.
We were skiing.
Enjoying your vacation.
Not. Of course, we had it in our mind, but we were trying to not think about that. Mm-hmm. And so I was in the apartment and I came out. He was on the phone, standing there holding the skis, and I stood there and listened. And just by listening, I knew what it was. And so one of the girls, I think, was in the apartment, the oldest, and then the other two were with him, and they had gone to the ski locker. So we didn't have a minute to process. I was actually on my way out to walk to the grocery store. Mm-hmm. He got off the phone and he said, it's cancer in the pancreas. And we didn't have any other information because all the gastroenterologist said was, it's confirmed, it's cancer. You'll hear from the oncology team. You won't hear from me again. So
you're like, Merry Christmas.
Right. Merry Christmas. Here's your gift.
Were you just what were the thoughts and emotions?
I don't remember having.
Probably blacked out.
Yeah. I don't remember having a ton, right? It was that initial moment of not even knowing what to think or what to do. And I walked to the grocery store just kind of in a daze, right? I had no idea. So we clearly didn't tell the girls. I mean, it was Christmas Eve. We weren't going to mention that. And we went out that evening and met the two other families that we were with, all kids the same age. So there's 9 little kids running around and then the adults. And so they could tell right away, just by the look on my face. I was trying very hard to stay, pretty even keel, but they could tell right away. And so she came up and, hugging, and adults are crying. And my middle daughter comes up and, bless her heart, she said, "Why is everybody crying?" And I was like, "Oh, honey, we're happy to be together." It's just,
I don't know why I'm laughing, but I get it.
Because you have nothing else, right?
Right.
And one of the families was moving back to Texas right after this trip. So, we were just happy to be together, trying to kind of play it off. And even the guys were kind of tearing up, which is,
rare.
Very, very rare. So, we went through the rest of the night, went through Christmas, had a couple more days, and then we went home. I think we were home for a day or so before we finally, sat the girls down, and we sat, because I had been telling them, like, we have not hidden anything from them. They know what could happen, but they also know that, Daddy's in this trial and he's on this medicine, and things right now are looking very good. And it's hard for them to understand because, as you saw, he looks fine, and he's still doing all the things, and he handled chemo very well. He didn't really get sick with it. He got a little grumpy, which they said could be a side effect, like irritability was a side effect. And, it wasn't his fault, right? He would get frustrated with the girls in the evening, or he didn't mean to. It's just the way it was. So they haven't really seen Dad not be Dad. So it's kind of hard for them to understand, but every now and then they'll ask, "Wait, Mom, like, does this mean that Dad could?" And I said, "Honey, it's not our plan. Like, this is God's plan, and we don't know what that is, but we're going to try very, very hard to make sure Daddy's okay."
Right.
I said, and they understand. They get it. They're, how old are my kids? They're 7, 8, and 11, so they're old enough to understand. But
it's hard for them to conceptualize the seriousness of this, and having to talk about death with your young children and the potential of their father going to heaven. At some point we all pass away, but it's a delicate conversation to have with them. But I think you're going about it the right way, because just being completely honest, it's not fun conversations to be having with your small children about their father.
No. So they took the news well. Of course, tears and and everything, but they've done well. They've been extremely resilient through all of it. So we told them, and then we did New Year's with families together, and it was I want to say January 13th or something, he'd had another MRI at a different hospital in the Netherlands.
Also, I want everybody to know this year, 2026. He was diagnosed
in Christmas Eve of 25.
Christmas Eve of 25.
Yes.
So we're talking just a few months.
Not that long ago.
Not that long ago.
Christmas Eve of 25. And then when we got back from our trip, he had another MRI. And then this was with the surgery team, just to make sure they could see everything before they went in and did the surgery. They didn't have a lot of data between doing surgery first or doing chemo first, so they decided chemo first. And the day before his first chemo treatment, we got the results from the MRI, and then they said that it had spread to his liver. So he came downstairs. He'd had the phone call. I didn't even know that they had called. He came downstairs, and I could see it. And I was joking around with him about something, and I looked at his face, and I said, "Oh, what's wrong?" And he said, "Well, it spread to my liver." And I said, "Okay." He said, "They want us to come in today." And I said, "Okay. All right, then
Let's go.
Let's do that." So,
And oftentimes, most times, if not,
it's very
wonder
giving,
what
is what they say.
percentage is, but it goes to the liver.
To the liver, yes.
Like, boom.
It's the pancreas is very giving, and it likes to give to the liver, is what the doctor has told us. So that's so sweet of it. So on our way up to the hospital, a different one that we were at, there were 2 different ones that we were working with, I made the comment. I said, "Okay, well, either they're going to give us good news that they can handle this, or they're going to tell us that they can't, and that's it. Then we we go home. There's no other, I mean, there are so many other options. And that's, so they told us he was no longer a candidate for surgery. There were no trials, like he mentioned last week, there were no trials or things that he could do because he had so many lesions on his liver. And they would do up to 12 rounds of chemo. They would hope for the best. And, then I remember this vividly. She turned the computer screen that she had towards us so that we could see, and we could see where it was showing us, breaking it down by age, how best to tell our children that their dad wasn't going to make it. And I know he took a picture of the website. And I never have gone back to look at the website. I should just for general knowledge.
Maybe not.
But maybe not. But that was the delivery. And
I don't think you told me that.
It was insane. Breaking it down by age so each age range could understand.
And okay, so they're offering FOLFIRINOX, which is actually, sounds like the only standard of care over there in the Netherlands. It's the first line treatment here in the U.S.
Yes. So he did, the next day we went to the hospital and he had his PICC line placed because over there they did PICC line, which is different from here. And then went straight up to chemo and got his first round of chemo. And every nurse that walked through our door to help either administer chemo or whatever they were doing, everyone had the same reaction. And it was, oh, you guys got the bad news yesterday. That's terrible. And you guys have little kids. Like, that's awful.
I know.
We were so angry. We just wanted them to leave. No one could understand that we were going to fight this. Like, we weren't just going to give up. We were going to fight this.
That's not. First of all, some people just get the diagnosis and then they say, okay.
That's it.
That's it.
Yep.
But you and I are both different or wired different than, and no one's, I'm not shaming or saying, anybody is wrong or bad for what they've done, but it sounds like in the Netherlands that's just accepted. They do 12 rounds of FOLFIRINOX. By the way, only less than 36% of patients, pancreatic cancer patients respond to FOLFIRINOX. Did you know that at that point?
No.
Had they talked numbers with you? No. Okay. No. Just your husband's facing death.
They had given up. So anything that they were telling me, I was not listening. I was focused on how do we get back here? How can I get him in with Dr. Lim? How can we catch this? How can we stop it? But then within that, so January 16th was when we had tenants in our home, and that was the day that we gave them their notice. We have 3 months. We're coming back.
Well, hold on. Fast forward. You weren't. How'd you go from? At one point, did you contact me? Like what?
I contacted you. I think actually the day after we found out, because I remember this. We were at the top of the mountain. We had just gotten off the gondola, and we were waiting for our friends to come up. The line was long, so there were a few things behind us. And I think after that, the next day, I sent you a message and said, "Hey, this is what's happening. I need your help. How can I get in contact with Dr. Lim?" And so then I think you and I back and forth for a while on that. And that was even before we knew that he wasn't a candidate for surgery in the Netherlands. So I just wanted that line of the second opinion.
You were being very proactive.
Yes. I just wanted to make sure.
Your life. Correct.
And it was just a feeling that I had, and I'm glad I had that feeling because but at the same time, one of my friends in the Netherlands made the comment that at least they told you. At least they told you up front. I mean, they could have
told you what?
That they couldn't do anything else.
Oh,
right.
Instead of
and him going through all the rounds of chemo and then getting to the end of that and them saying, there's nothing else we could do.
Right.
When I don't know how he would have handled all the rounds of chemo. The first 2 rounds he did well, but I mean, as you know, it takes its toll on you after round after round.
Right.
So at least they told us. They could have strung us along and they could have kept him on chemo over there and we could still be over there. But things just were lining up, thankfully. But so that's when we went through the 2 rounds there, and we made the decision to come back. And just with the things with his job, with the contract that he had over there, and the insurance over there, and insurance here, and needing it, and just things weren't lining up there. So we thought we had to maybe stay and do the last 2 more rounds over there, stay till the end of February, and then start everything new in the States the first of the month.
Because of insurance.
Because of insurance and because of our visa, because we were on his work visa, and, all these moving pieces. So within that January 16th of telling the tenants, hey, we have 3 months, we're coming back, this is why. And thankfully, bless them, they got out early. So thankfully, we had a lot of back and forth. So we didn't know, are we going right now? Are we leaving on February 8th is what we originally planned? Are we staying? Are we going? It was a lot of moving pieces.
Now, so you sent Dr. Lim, we got you in contact with Dr. Lim. And again, these are God winks along the way. This is why I wanted to talk about the connection here, and, why Jamie and I are both passionate about sharing our stories and what we have recently launched. So all this is very relevant. Again, God winks along the way. And so we got Ethan's info to Dr. Lim, and they called you shortly thereafter.
Yeah, they called him. And I think initially they said, yep, we'll take a look at your scans. We'll look at your file, and we'll be in touch. And then they called back and they offered, I think the first week of March was their first appointment. This was the first part of January, so a couple months out, which is, I think, still tracking. And then they called back and they said, we have a spot on February 12th. Do you want it? And yes. We had not made the decision that we were coming back. We had mentioned, I think, to his HR, we were actually in the process of extending a 4th year and staying another year. So we had reached out to HR and said, let's,
pause that.
Yeah, pause that, put the brakes on that one, and maybe do a complete 180 and see about going back the other direction. And they were amazing. His work has been phenomenal.
Yeah, and it's Bayer, right?
It is Bayer, yeah. So he works for Bayer Crop Science, so he's on the agriculture division. They've been phenomenal in all of it. So we took the appointment on February 12th, and we knew either way he was going to be there, whether it was just him going to come or the whole family. And I didn't want him to go without me. I didn't know what shape he would be in after having his rounds of chemo there. I didn't want him to be here by himself going through these appointments. But I knew that if he were to come, he wouldn't come back over. And if he didn't come back over, then we legally couldn't be there because we were all running under his visa. So when his visa ended, we have to leave too.
Okay.
There are a lot of moving pieces for an international move, and especially when you aren't the person that has the visa or that you're there for. So that's when I think we booked our flight home 9 days before we flew. Wow. Finally getting all of the pieces put into place. Yes, we could end the contract, didn't have to leave the country. We could start the insurance in the States so that they would accept it without being here. It was a lot. So, but looking back over all of our time there and thinking back to the day that he got that phone call from his boss asking if we would go, then you as the wife and the person that said, yes, I think we should do this. And then you start looking back going, is this my fault? Did I said we should come over here, and his stress level has been, above and beyond. Did I cause this? Is this partly my fault? You spiral and all the things.
Yes.
And you start thinking back, what did I make for dinners, or what did I, just anything, because you don't know. You don't know when it showed up. You don't know how long it's been there.
Why and how, and of course.
He's not an unhealthy person.
Right.
He grew up on a farm, so meat and potatoes are kind of his 2 main food groups, and I tease him about it. I tease him that when he took his job in the vegetable side of the business, then he started eating vegetables because before it wasn't exactly his favorite. But, just you spiral and you start thinking all these things that you could have done wrong, or you could have done better, or you could have. So it's Exhausting.
A very natural, reaction as a wife and a mother.
Yep.
You absolutely think, because you are searching for answers.
Yep.
Because it doesn't make sense. Why us? Why him?
Yes.
What,
And his mother is type 2 diabetic, and she has been for years, insulin dependent. And so, you always think, well, she has clearly, her pancreas has something, is it genetic? Is it something that you never know, and you'll never know. But his mentality with all of it has been, okay, so, you can't dwell on it. What are we going to do
about it? Yeah.
So that's when I really had to take that to heart and be like, okay, I can't sit here and think, well, did I cause part of this? Am I to blame for some of this? So I have to just, it is what it is.
Right.
Let's move forward and let's figure this out.
Right.
So when we did get back and we started getting in, we met with Dr. Lim, we met with Dr. Chapman, the surgeon and his team. And then I knew I couldn't just sit and watch and let it happen. And you had mentioned, the next piece of the fundraising puzzle and all the things. And I knew I couldn't just sit. And I think you had made the comment, like, get settled and we'll do it. I was like, no, I can't. No.
Well,
I can't do that.
Right. Right. Well, because Ethan's health is the number one thing.
Yes.
And I remember when Kyle was battling, Dr. Lim was like, because right away when I found out about the study, I'm like, well, we'll find the $3 million. And he was like, you don't have to do that, right? And you're like, but yes, I do. And so obviously Kyle's health and keeping him alive is a priority.
Yes.
But as a wife, there's not much you can do.
Yeah, exactly. And you feel helpless.
You're out of control.
Yeah.
And so so that's why, you and I both have come together, because we are going to continue moving forward. One thing I want to ask though is, so when Dr. Lim and his team looked at his records, they said to you, we can do more than just FOLFIRINOX, essentially.
Yeah.
Right?
You said there are other options.
There are other options
Yes.
here. So that's why you said, okay, let's go.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So he knew, clearly he didn't know the mutations or any of the genetic components at that point.
Right.
But he knew that, you're young, you're healthy, there are options. And I do remember that appointment with Dr. Lim like it was yesterday, and he's amazing, like just phenomenal person and doctor. And he looked at Ethan and he said, I don't understand why this happened to you, but it's not fair. And we're going to do everything we can to fix it. And it's just, he's incredible. And I truly believe that. So anything he tells me, okay.
Yep.
Right. I would never, ever question anything that he says or does, because he knows what he's doing beyond.
Right. Well, he's a leading researcher.
It's insane.
In pancreatic cancer right here, in our backyard.
Which is amazing.
It's amazing. And God totally planned that.
Yeah.
And his bedside manner is
phenomenal. Yes.
I mean, yeah, he's one of a kind.
Absolutely.
Sure. So then what was the plan? Initially.
Yeah, it's a good question. When we got back here okay, so FOLFIRINOX, more chemo.
No surgery?
No surgery.
Okay.
So he started right back in with chemo, because he was on a break when we moved, because every other week is chemo. So he was on a break on chemo week when we flew back. And we were, I think, maybe 1 week delayed by the time everything got settled and we got him back in. So he did one round of chemo here. And that was, I think that was the plan. But I also feel like Dr. Lim he had ideas and was working in the background, trying to figure out something else. And so he called Ethan on a Friday and told him, like he mentioned, about the trial. And I was actually at lunch with a friend of mine. And I hadn't checked my phone. Ethan had messaged me and said, Dr. Lim called, told me about this trial. I said, yes, I hope that's okay. I was like, of course it's okay.
I said, yes.
Yeah.
Checking with his wife. I love that.
I said, yes, of course it's okay. And then, so I told you. And then on Monday, unfortunately we got the call that said we missed it by 1 minute, but I don't accept that. I'm going to work on it, is what he told Ethan. He said, this is not okay. I'm going to work on it. And you'll hear from me. And so that was on a Monday. I think you met with him on Tuesday. And then
I just so happened to have a meeting with him
had a meeting
on
with
Tuesday.
he and his whole team. And I remember you said you asked the question about him. And then you messaged me and said, hey, he's going to get him in. Like,
Did I? I hope I did a disclaimer of I hope
don't say, don't tell him.
Let's just
This is what Dr. Lim said. He's going to get him in. Yeah. So I didn't say anything to Ethan, but within, I was like, okay, he's going to get him in. So then it was Wednesday, we hadn't heard anything. And it was Wednesday evening, we hadn't heard anything. And I was like, okay, well, we have chemo tomorrow.
And by the way, sorry, Dr. Lim, I did call Jamie after the meeting and say, don't get your hopes up too high. But Dr. Lim is pretty confident.
He's going to do it.
Yeah, I couldn't help but call you because I just knew what you were going through and like the agony and I'm like, I have to tell her like and I believe him. He's going to do everything he can.
So I said,
so I called you.
I'm going to believe him. Like
after that meeting.
Yeah. So sorry, Dr. Lim.
Yeah, sorry.
But it worked out. It's okay.
Yeah.
So we were on our way to drop our kids at basically 2 doors down from our house. It's some good friends of ours. And then the bus stop is at our house. So we were taking our children to our friend's house, our neighbor's house down the street so they could hang out until the bus came because we had to be at the hospital, earlier.
For chemo.
And I had gotten up early that morning. I always get up early on chemo mornings. I make a bunch of food. I have it all prepped because it's a long day, I mean, you've been there, right? I don't like to go out and get, I don't know, it just feels weird when you're trying to, like going up and getting fast food just doesn't feel right. So
yeah, understandable.
So I always get up early. I had a bunch of food packed and we were driving through our neighborhood and our neighborhood is a large neighborhood. We live in the back of it. It literally takes like 7 minutes to drive through to get to where our house is. And during that time, Dr. Lim called and asked Ethan if he was at the hospital yet. And he said, no, we're on our way to drop our kids so that we could head up there. Don't go to the hospital. And that's when Ethan was like, well, okay. He said, I got you in the trial. They were going to call you later. You have to go down to the hospital today, sign all the consent forms, and then we'll go from there.
Right.
So we did. We dropped the kids off, and then we just stayed at our neighbor's house and just chatted, right?
Were you just like...
We didn't know. Yeah, we were, because I had told them, right? Like, that we were in, we're not in, we're waiting, we're in.
Right.
So it was quite an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
But we did. We went down to, they called and said, can you come in the next couple of days? And Ethan was like, well, I can come right now if you
right now.
if you want.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, okay, yeah, come on down. So you did. And I'm sure you went through the same thing, but it's almost like you're buying a house, like you're signing so many papers and so many things. And bless the girl that is kind of our contact for the trial. She's like, okay, this big chunk of the section, this doesn't pertain to you. So we're going to skip through a bunch of this. We were like, okay.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. Because there's 3 groups within his trial.
Okay.
He's in group A. Group A is just that treatment. Group B is that treatment plus one. And then group C is that treatment plus a different one, just combinations to try to see, which is combating it the best. And he's in group A. So right now he's just the treatment. So we were skipping through a lot of, group B and group C, which is taken through a chunk of papers like this. It was insane. So we went through all that, but then we had a lot of up and down to get into the trial, to be accepted into the trial. So he got his spot, but then we had to go through all of the initial testing and things. So he had to do did he do another CT scan or MRI? I think he did another CT scan just because they needed a current one. And then his platelet count was low. So then it had to be at at 100 or whatever, and his was low. So there was all kinds of things that we weren't really sure if he was going to qualify.
Oh boy. For
the trial. So I wasn't sharing. We have a giant WhatsApp group, with people literally from all over the world that Ethan has worked with and just people ever that are cheering him on. And people were starting to ask questions, what's going on with Ethan? How's it going? And I had all of this that I wanted to share, but I wanted to wait until the moment that he took the pills on the first day just to make sure, because we had so many ups and downs and so many things with qualifying to actually get into the trial that I wanted to make sure. I didn't want to put it out there and then all of a sudden say, well, it actually didn't work, right? You didn't get in. Right. So I was holding a lot of that in. Or a few people I was mentioning too off and on, but not as a general group.
Broad announcement, correct. Yeah.
So that was a lot.
A lot. And I want to mention here, this study is not the study that Kyle was in.
No.
So
They both came from Dr. Lim's lab.
yes,
However, they are
correct.
different.
Yes, they are different. Ethan has a mutation, several genetic mutations. Kyle did not have any that qualified him for a trial. So I just wanted to make that clear. But this is research done by Dr. Lim in his lab.
Yes.
You want to talk a little bit more about what it is?
I can try.
To the extent that you
understand.
it.
I understand, yes. So with this, Ethan has a specific genetic mutation, and this drug is, and I apologize if I say these incorrectly, I tried to learn. This drug is targeting a specific protein within that mutation that stops the DNA replication and stops the spread. And within that, then it, in essence, kills the tumor. We find out on the 22nd, he goes in for his first on-trial CT scan, and we see if there is any, if it's going down, if it's stable, if there is any progression of cancer.
Then he's out.
Unfortunately, he's out.
So this is a multi-center study all over the country.
Yes.
Do you know where it originated from Dr. Lim's lab?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's my understanding as well.
Okay.
And it's working well.
Yes.
It's in a phase 1 trial.
It is a phase 1 trial.
Okay.
I think here in St. Louis, there's, don't quote me, I've heard the number 8 to 10 patients. I don't know if those are all pancreatic. This one, I believe they're working pancreas, liver, and I want to say lungs. I know Kyle's was pancreatic.
Yeah, his spread to his liver, his lungs.
What was his targeting? His trial was targeting was it just pancreatic cancer that it was targeting? Okay.
Yes.
I didn't know if it was also.
Well, yes.
So they're looking at it with liver and lungs, I believe. So this one is kind of a combined study.
Right.
I don't really know what to say. But yeah, so I think nationwide, they maybe 200 patients, I think, total. Again, I don't have a lot of the information because it goes to the lab, and so we don't see it. And even within Ethan's own information or data that he's they're collecting from him, we don't see a lot of it because it goes on. So
Right.
I probably wouldn't understand it anyway. I don't have a medical background. That's not my. I was animals, farm.
Exactly.
So
and most people aren't. So,
I know. I did meet yesterday with some ladies from Siteman from the trial, and I said just as much information as we can get that we can all understand would be amazing.
Right.
So,
layman terms.
Yes. Yeah. So they, they're definitely willing to let us know how it's going and how it's working, and
awesome.
So it's been good.
And so this is giving your family and so many others hope because it's more. So FOLFIRINOX, the first standard of care, less than 36% of patients respond. Second line treatment is Gemzide, Abraxane. I never know if I'm saying that right. I used to know how, but anyway, even less than that respond. And so there aren't a lot of really promising treatments for pancreatic cancer.
Yeah.
But there are things in labs and in studies right now that are doing well. And so this provides hope, something that the Netherlands and other parts of the world, unfortunately, don't have.
Yeah.
And so thank God you guys are back here. Yeah. He's in a trial. Yes. For those of you that didn't watch last week, you can watch his show last week. He looks and feels great. You would never know.
It's insane.
It's insane.
Yep.
Whereas Kyle was bedridden from the very first get-go. So it's very different. And pancreatic cancer can look very different.
Yes, very much so.
But it is affecting patients younger and younger. You never think it's going to be you.
No.
And here we are, Jamie.
No, yeah.
20 years later.
Yep.
In a similar boat.
Bonding over something we never wanted to even consider.
Correct. So let's talk about what we're doing now.
Yes.
So
it's exciting.
It is exciting. So April 3rd, 2023 was Kyle's death date. So we just didn't celebrate, but his death anniversary was April 3rd of this year. And so initially when Dr. Lim brought the study to us when Kyle was battling, we thought we were going to have to fund a phase 1 study. And a phase 1 study is about $3 million because my thought was we'll raise this $3 million and then Kyle will be one of those patients, 50 to 60 initial patients And then we got compassionate use, meaning it went from the lab into Kyle's body. He was the very first human to get it. Now it's in Kyle's study is in 30 to 40 patients, or what did Gretchen say?
Yep.
So
Yes.
Jamie met with Siteman yesterday.
Yes. 30 to 40.
30
is
to 40
what they're
patients,
looking at. Yep.
and it's working on almost all of them.
Yes.
And some of them, these are all stage 4 cancer patients, pancreatic. They also are doing a study with stomach cancer. So this treatment is doing in humans what it did in the mice. For Kyle, it was too late. He had gone through too much treatment and was very sick. It did reduce his cancer from a very high number to a very low number. We don't need to get into the details there, but he ended up passing because of some side effects and things from the treatment. Essentially, he was too sick to continue to get it. But the point is that we have raised over $2 million the last few years. There's been a lot of amazing people who have contributed and donated, so that it is in other patients now. And so after sharing that with Jamie, she was like, I want help. What can I do? I can't just sit here, and again, like Jamie said, I said, let's, focus on Ethan when you guys get settled, if you want to come. And she's like, I think a day or two later, she's like, okay, so what can I do?
Yeah. What are we doing?
What are we
Let's do
doing?
this.
And so we decided we were going to do sort of a crowdfunding. So basically our plan is to raise the next $1 million of the $3 million that initially I had told Dr. Lim that we would find him. And so Jamie and I and a few other pancreatic cancer widows or family members have joined together to raise that $1 million. Yes. And so, what do you want to, anything you want to say or add?
It's going well so far.
Right.
We've had some amazing donations, and thank you to everyone who has donated. We appreciate it. It doesn't matter if it's $5, if it's $50,000. It all goes to the lab, and it all adds up. So thank you everyone who has donated, and if you are considering, I know Kira has mentioned a couple times that pick a cancer. And I think, unfortunately, in the world we live in now, we've all kind of become desensitized to the need to fundraise for cancer. Every time we turn around, we know someone else who's been diagnosed, or we hear a story about someone who has been diagnosed, or they've lost a loved one, and it's all awful. There's no reason for it. But stuff like this trial, this is different. This isn't just donating money, like you said, to the pool, and a little bit goes here and a little bit goes here. All of this money goes directly to Dr. Lim, and he's doing amazing work with it.
He is.
And it's, who doesn't want to be a part of the ground floor of something? Who doesn't want to be a part of and say, hey, I donated to that cause, and look, it's stopping cancer. Like, this person was stage 4, and now they're living their life. Right?
No evidence of disease. Right.
And I literally have a page in my notebook of all fun ideas of things that we can do. And I'm looking forward to it. People are excited around it. The people that I've spoken to, they're excited. And it's been amazing. It's been amazing seeing everyone come together.
Absolutely.
And I know you had to feel that the first time that you did this.
Yeah.
And I feel like you raised $2 million in a short amount of time.
It was a few years. We started fundraising shortly after Kyle got diagnosed. We did our first fundraiser. Kyle was very sick. We raised $200,000 that day, or that evening. We did another fundraiser. I think we raised another $200,000. So, and to Jamie's point, this is something. Well, first of all, yes, pick a cancer. If it's not pancreatic cancer, obviously that is our focus.
Yeah.
Pick a cancer that is meaningful to you, that someone has been affected. And if you can, donate anything, right? She said every dollar counts, and it's very true. If everyone gets a little bit, we can definitely move mountains. And I always say this, if you have a lot of money, if you're a billionaire or hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, absolutely pick a cancer and fund a promising researcher.
Yeah.
Right?
And search for the studies. Search for the things that are doing.
Yes, and that are needing funding, because the government is still the number one funder of cancer research. It is not enough. It's less than 1% of their budget. I mean, I could go on and on about that. It is not enough. We do have to all come together to move mountains here. And so our focus obviously is pancreatic cancer. And so we, would love for you to come on board with us and partner with us to make a change. And the amazing part about it is, as money gets into this fund, Dr. Lim can continue to put patients on these extremely promising studies.
Yes.
And so we don't have to wait till the $1 million there. There's no waiting. It's as he gets the money in. And actually, so we launched a little over a week ago. We are over $200,000 in donations at this point.
Yes.
So as Jamie said, thank you to everybody who has donated and who is thinking about donating and who will donate. Please know that your funds, we know it's hard-earned money, it is being put to good use right now in patients battling right now, and will continue to make a difference in the lives of patients and their families moving forward. And so, if you ever have any questions, please reach out to either one of us. We will give you all the information we can. We will certainly put the link at the bottom of the show. And you can follow us on Instagram or our social channels to learn more. Again, send us a DM. Yeah. But we hope that we can all bond together and make this happen as soon as possible. And now, speaking of other organs, Kyle's treatment in particular, Ethan's treatment sounds like it's already in other cancers. Kyle's treatment's now in stomach cancers as well.
It's amazing.
And they're looking to put it into colorectal cancer patients, which is now the number one killer of all the cancers.
Yes.
And so we are making a difference, so we're going to continue to use our voices.
Absolutely.
Right? And fight not only for Ethan, but for everyone else, and in Kyle's honor. I don't know what else we have to say about that.
I know. It's incredible. And you never think it can happen to you. You never think that your husband, and it's not always men. I mean, it does affect women, I think, almost as equally, but you hear about it more
in men. Yes.
So, I mean, I never want anyone to have to imagine being in this position. Right. We just, ideally, we can help eliminate that issue, but realistically right now, I mean, we're working towards that.
Correct.
And that isn't what's happening at this very second, but that's what we're working towards. We don't want anyone else to have to tell their little kids, daddy has cancer or, mommy has cancer, and we don't know what's going to happen. So that's why we're fighting, so that families out there don't have to go through this.
Right.
And it's a journey.
It's a journey, and I feel called to do it.
Yes.
Like, it is a purpose that I think God has given us. And
absolutely.
Connecting us, you are a force. And I realized that very quickly. I'm like, okay, I know who I'm dealing with here. I know who I'm dealing with. I know
there's several of my friends that are watching that are laughing right now. I know they are. I can tell.
Like, that's Jamie for you.
That's right.
I love it. So we are going to continue to move mountains. And just so people know, it obviously is a tax write-off. You can use donor advised funds. Those things, people always ask, and absolutely.
Of course.
So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Jamie. Of course. Of course. And I'm excited. We're going to be doing some fun things. So stay tuned.
We are. I got all kinds of ideas. So thank you again. Thank you to all of those of you who are watching live and who will be watching this. I appreciate you watching, and we'll be back next week with the Yes We Can podcast, Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Thanks for watching.
What if you could start your day feeling loose, relaxed, and ready? Deep hydrotherapy right in your backyard. Relax with your family or friends, or work out with our Michael Phelps Edition Swim Spas. Worried about maintenance? We have factory-trained service nearby whenever you need it. Plus, we're here for you long-term if you have any questions. Rated locally owned for 20 years. We put the in spa.